Panel, ladies and gentlemen, the July Revolution wasn't just a revolution, it was a fucking massacre. The scores of students from various political parties are precisely who motivate our side of the House. If we truly want a shot at political reform through building a new democratic and non-partisan Bangladesh, we need the involvement of the very people who survived this atrocity of the visceral experience to take the helm and raise the banner of the Jatiyo Nagorik Committee. We do not want all the bloodshed and those people who died to be in vain. The path to victory of closing opposition is simple. In order to build a neutral and non-partisan democratic Bangladesh, we need a politically diverse spectrum in order to coalesce together, in order to have the best discourse, and to be able to serve as a check and balance against the very apprehension that government side has, in order to protect against the far ends of the spectrum, who they acknowledge are bad, who they acknowledge have limitations, hence having to revolt and put their lives on the line in order to be able to hold against. Opening opposition successfully proves a sense of urgency and talks about the need for collective action and political plurality, but let me fill in the missing middle analysis and mech out exactly how we transition between a new democratic Bangladesh and where we are right now, which is this interim kind of government. And I'm also going to nuance it to the horrors of the past being the very motivation for these students to be able to do better than the very people who had failed them. Responses will be integrated. So how does this work, right? We need to understand that A, putting these particular people on the back seat as opening government characterizes is just unstrategic. It's unstrategic because opening government characterizes their importance and says that later on after the transition, they can still be involved. But bruh, let's just do a simple intuition pump. If you get kicked out of your org or they tell you to step down, what motivation do you have to be able to use your connections to be able to help them? What motivation do you have to be able to go back to them if they say, okay na, you can come here? We think the problem there lies in the fact that you create this perverse incentive structure and you gaslight the very individuals who worked hard to get there, and you send the message that we only used you because we succeeded with this revolution. Now, you can step down. Okay lang, gawin mo trabaho mo po ah. So, we think it becomes an ultimate disrespect and disservice for the very people who put in the hard work there. The nuance here that our opening missed is to the visceral atrocity of what they had experienced. The July Revolution, or I say massacre, had a lot of people dying, and the very people who have seen the horrors of that by virtue of having to go against these people and seeing the people you love die serve as the catalyst to be able to know I can do better. Because people can really change their mind. That is to say that if I was part of this previous political affiliation and I've seen their failures with the extreme forms of government to the point that me and my colleagues had to actually have an uprising, is the point in which I get motivated to be neutral and do things better, even if I've been attached to my past. Let's not necessarily hold people accountable there. We think that political ideologies are not a monolith, and people not just can change their mind, but are entitled to these particular beliefs. We think even if these people are as radical, and this is me being charitable to side government, it becomes an ultimate affront to neutrality because we rather keep these people close within our proximate center of control in order to have visibility over them. Meaning, as opposed to making them step down and them possibly breaking away into another coalition group or militia who might try and take down the existing interim government. So it becomes July Revolution Part Dukes and more people can potentially die and be radicalized. Side government has a gross oversimplification of how it works, and they say political party before is bad because new thing is neutral. No, we think the fact that you're latched to a political party in the past is exactly what motivates our side of the house. OG, go for it.
So you're still not engaging with the push. These leaders may be important to the movement because they were survivors of the massacre, but you still don't prove why their affiliations won't get in the way of them being able to shape public policy neutrally and won't fall prey to the influences of the political parties that benefited from the oppression that led to the revolution in the first
It's
place.
because people fucking died, and these people don't want more people to die. That is to say, yes, I have a political affiliation before, but I've seen the horrors of that, which is why my Overton window of my political expression is probably going to change. Meaning you get a marginal benefit of people who you characterize to be biased, shifting closer towards the center and being neutral. We represent that, and we think that can best happen when they've seen the full horrors. That leads me to the idea of saying that this ideology and vast range of political spectrum in the Overton window, it's a dynamic kind of thing. It's not like these people, okay, political party, you're on the left, you're on the right. People can change their mind, but more importantly, because of what had happened, people can now understand that going neutral and taking a more centrist stance is the way to go, and you're better able to have that check and balance of neutrality when these people are involved. Now, why exactly should it be these students versus who CG says other neutral particular people? Very simple. Because those other neutral politicians do not have skin in the game and might be the very kinds of people who are going to overpromise or position themselves as neutral for the sake of being able to win that seat, for the sake of being able to gerrymander their way to be able to win into the elections. And these very students who are the future ladies and gentlemen who have the most to be able to lose are the very heart of the NCC who need to be involved. We want to shatter the lens of the youth having political apathy and those very people who are aggrieved by their mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters and friends who have died during that atrocity. Yes, these students may be emotionally charged, but it's a matter of being able to continue involving these people as opposed to shunning them on the wayside, and as opening government expects them to still somehow contribute, and as closing says na, there are other particular people. What have we proved to you very clearly from closing opposition? We told you that political diversity is part and parcel of having a marginal shift towards being neutral, and the heart of neutrality, in order to have proper democratic representation, needs to have the very people who have seen the atrocities we are very proud to oppose.